Hi everyone, Stepan here. I'm going to show you a training game I played today. I played 3, I won 2, this one I'm not going to give away. Before you see the video, it was an incredibly instructive training game because of the opening and because of the end game. So I've decided not to play the games live anymore so that I can concentrate a bit more and to make sure I don't get into Zeitnot and that I don't blunder or whatever. So okay, anyway. He played e4, I played c5, the Sicilian. I seldom play the Caro-Kann now. The Sicilian is going to be my main opening, along with another one. So we have Nf3 Nc6, d4, cd, knight d, knight f6, knight c3, and e5. The Sveshnikov Sicilian, and here we play a couple of moves of the main line, knight d to b5, d6, bishop g5. If you don't know this, the theory in the Sveshnikov, watch the video on the Sveshnikov. I'm not going to go into details too much here. So a6, knight a3, b5, threatening to win one of the knights, so knight d5. And here bishop e7. Black now is happy white is happy to give away his bishop because he increases the control over the d5 square. That's the key square in this position. In the Sveshnikov it's extremely weak. And here after c3, white has several moves, black has several moves, bishop g5 castles, rook b8 or bishop b7. I play all of them. I will usually castle going into the main lines, after which knight c2 is played and then bishop g5 going for f5. But lately I've been trying out this very interesting bishop b7 line. And now after knight c2, the point of bishop b7 is that I play knight e7, trying to, well, basically take back the d5 square. And if white takes the bishop, which is the main move, which happened in the game, I take Gf6, and now I'm controlling the d5 square, and that's the huge difference in this position. Now, in this position, if you look at the live book, you have to protect the e4 pawn, so bishop d3 is the move, and black gets to play d5 unopposed, and after e takes d5, you can either take with the bishop or with the queen. Well, against weaker players, and this guy is 1996, so my rating basically. You take with the queen to keep the pieces on the board. There's a fun line with taking with the knight, and after bishop e4, which is the only move, you play the move f5, sacrificing a pawn. Bishop takes f5, and now knight f4. There's a lot of trouble on g2. So all of that I know. And why was this a good training game in the opening? Well, my opponent played a move I've never seen before. I didn't know how to face it, and I made a mistake, I believe. I didn't check the game with an engine. I will at the end of the video. So here he played a4, and I spent... Okay, let me just see. Here I had 17 minutes, so this is a 15 plus 15 game. After my move, I had 10 minutes. So I had spent almost 8 minutes on one move because I couldn't figure out what to do. Now, the reason why you play bishop d3 is because e4 is hanging. So obviously, bishop takes e4 is visually and logically the best move. But what I was afraid of was ab5, bishop b5 check, king f8, and rook takes rook, bishop takes rook. And here I couldn't see an advantage for me. I just don't know what's going on in this position. G2 is not that weak. He can still probably even castle. d6 is weak. He has a 2-to-1 on the queen side. He can try and queen his b pawn. The other option after a4 was playing b takes a4, rook takes a4, after which the pawn is not hanging, but now I could go f5, and after e takes f5, knight takes f5, I have a lot of pressure on g2. And this I liked, but then I saw what I played in the game, what I thought was a good move, but then I as soon as I played it, I knew that it wasn't. So b4, and obviously my calculation for the majority of the 8 minutes was what happens after knight takes b4. Well, now I can either go a5 to save the a6 pawn, or bishop takes e4. If I go a5, he's going to go knight d5, and after knight takes d5, he can either check me. I think checking is correct first, something like king e7, pawn takes d5. Here I have a safer king. He still has a pawn majority on the queen side, but I think it's playable. The other move after knight takes b4, which I was calculating if not a5, was bishop takes. And after that, I simply didn't like bishop takes a6 and bishop takes g2, rook to g1. The bishop retreats somewhere. I don't know even where. I probably have to go here. And I didn't like this position. If it takes, there's bishop b4. I have to go queen c7, and it's fairly unpleasant for me. So after b4, I regretted the move very soon, and my opponent didn't think for a long time here. He played the move queen f3, which is just a horrible move because it allows f5. After f5, bishop d3 is the only move, after which I interpose this taking of the pawn. And now obviously the best move here is d5, which I tried to make work. I ended up going for a different move because I didn't see one of his responses. So after d5, he doesn't have anything here. I mean, e takes f5 is probably the best move. Anything else, I mean, everything loses here. If he moves the bishop, I'm going to take. If he takes one of my pawns, I'm going to advance and win the bishop. So let's say queen d1 takes, queen takes. It's an unclear piece up, and it's messy. It's very messy. He has two pawns, but it's a piece up. But I couldn't see an easy conversion in this position. So after b takes c3, and this is still, I mean, this is incredible training for me for the upcoming tournament, because this position is highly likely to occur on the board. I saw one variation. So f takes e4. He obviously has to take with the bishop. Bishop takes e4, and now d5. And I was calculating, well, he probably has to go bishop f5. If he doesn't go bishop f5, he's losing the bishop. If he goes bishop d3, I play e4. And after bishop d5, I thought I had a very good position here after e4. The queen should probably keep guard of the bishop, so something like either queen g4, which runs into h5, or more likely queen f4. And now my calculation was, well, what if I just play queen a5? How does he defend? He can go king d2, or he can go rook a3. After rook a3, I don't have rook c8 because of the bishop, but I don't know what to do. Maybe this is not good. Yeah, okay. So maybe it's good that he played the move that he did. I'm going to check this with an engine. Anyway, after d5, he played queen f6, which I thought was a bad move. After queen f6, I don't want to play rook g1. After rook g1, bishop h7, rook g2, everything is kind of loose. I don't like my position. So the best move here is knight g6, that I'm sure of. I'm forcing a trade of queens. Then he has to move the bishop, so queen takes, rook takes, and here I have a slightly better position. Here he blundered. He should have played bishop f3. I believe he played bishop d3, and now this allows knight f4. Bishop f1 is the only way to defend, and rook g8. Here he is worse. He is not losing. My guess is this is around -1 or something. But here he played the losing move. He played g3, and if you want, you can pause the video. But what's the winning move here for black? So the winning move, of course, is d4. After d4, I'm attacking the rook. He has to go rook g1. I don't have to move my knight because the rook is pinned, because the pawn is pinned. So here I win a pawn, dc3. Rook b1, attacking the bishop, but now bishop to e4, and it's now extremely unpleasant for white. I'm sure this position is completely winning. He played rook c1. Now I played a5 just to save my pawn. Bishop b5 check, king f8. And now I had a long think after knight e3. Had a long think, couldn't figure out what to do. This I'm really wondering about what the engine is going to say. So yeah, just let me show you another idea after rook b1. I ended up playing bishop e4, but there was a fun line which I just couldn't calculate all the way through. So bishop to f3. After bishop f3, I'm threatening some checkmates here. So I was calculating knight e3, and now I was going to go rook g6, simply getting my other rook into the game. Let's say he's greedy, he takes a pawn. This was my calculation. Bishop takes a6, and now rook to d6. I don't even care if he takes my knight, and this is what I couldn't make work. Let's say he takes my knight, gf4. I can play c2. He can't take with the knight because it's checkmate. So what does he do here? I think the position is just lost for him. I don't know what he does. If he tries something like rook c1, I play rook d1 check and win. If he moves the rook away to, let's say, here, then this is checkmate. And I couldn't, now I see it because it's on the board, but I was really afraid to play bishop f3 because if I don't sacrifice my knight, it doesn't make any sense. So I played bishop e4, which is just a more active move in my opinion and doesn't give a piece away. So rook c1, a5, bishop b5 check, king f8, knight e3. And here I couldn't find a good move. What's a good move here? So I'm threatened with exchanging the pieces and giving him equality. The fact that I'm a pawn up means virtually nothing. If I advance my pawn to c2, then he just takes it. So here I played knight h3, which I don't really like. He has to go rook f1, otherwise I take the rook. And now I played bishop d3, forcing this trade, which was also bad. Bishop d3, rook d3. Because he now has this move, knight c4. After knight c4, what me, the idiot, has missed is that my king and rook are reversed. I kept picturing that my rook was on f8, so that if he takes on e5, I can just go rook e8, win the knight. And when he, so I played knight g5. When he took, I was just devastated. What the hell is wrong with me? I completely missed that my king is not castled, it's on f8. So that was a blunder. So anyway, here I played for tricks, rook d4, and he can't take on c3 because he loses a piece. So he would have to go, he would have to play something like knight c3 in my opinion, or well, I'm going to check with the engine. Rook takes c3 is just a blunder. He played it in 30 seconds, because now after I play rook e4 check, he doesn't have rook e3. That's what he ended up playing, but then he was just lost rook e3, rook takes knight. I'm sorry, my internet is horribly slow for some reason. Rook takes knight, rook takes rook, knight f3 check. He played king d1, knight takes e5. And this position here is obviously completely winning, but that's not what I want to focus on. So we trade off some more pawns. He has this passed a pawn and he thinks this is a draw. He offers a draw here. I of course knew this wasn't a draw. He played a5. I played knight c5 because I wanted to stop the pawn. I don't think I can afford taking on g3 if I take. Here. Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry about my internet connection. Knight f5 check, what's wrong? Let me try to connect to my mobile network. Just give me a second. I'll try to switch to another network. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, it should be better now. Okay, so after knight f5, let's say he goes here and I try to catch the pawn. I would have to go, let's say knight c1. Yeah, I had time to take on g3. But I was afraid to do that. I played knight c5, just stopping the pawn because I knew this endgame was winning. So Dvoretsky's endgame manual. So what I have to do is get the opposition in. By the way, just to mention that in this position, I played king f6. If he plays king f4 and king g6, and if he goes for my knight, I'm just winning. He doesn't have time to stop me here. If he tries moving towards my knight, I can just take and I win. I can even just ignore this. I'm faster, or I can not ignore this. Let's say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm queening first. So I believe this is winning. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is an easy win. So even this was winning. He didn't go for that. He played king f3 and now king g5, and this is now just game over. I have to make sure that I'm not stuck with my a pawn, h pawn, and I move up the board, move up the board. It's like king versus pawn, which is a draw, but I always have a tempo with my knight. So here, after king e1, And this is what I calculated when I was walking home. I played this game in a bar. So if you want, you can pause the video. It's a mate in 5. Pause the video, find the mate in 5 for black. This is one of the most instructive endgames I've ever played. So black to play checkmate in 5 moves. Okay, okay, the move is f2, check. After king f1, obviously if he goes to d1, I promote. After king f1, I go king f3, he's forced to move his pawn, a6. And now I go knight e4, because he's forced to move his pawn, and knight d2 is checkmate. The other variation which I calculated when I was walking home, and here I had 4 minutes left, it's not like I couldn't win, but I played a variation which doesn't work. So the other variation is knight e4, and let's say a6. I go knight d2, let's say king d1. I don't know what else he plays. I mean, if he goes a7, I just promote with check. If he goes king d1, then f2 and king c2, and I just win. So both of these, so knight e4 and f2 check, both win easily, and it's a forced mate. Instead of that, I played a variation which doesn't work for a very specific reason. So knight d3 check, and my calculation was king f1, which of course he has to play. And now knight f4, and he goes for a6, of course. And now knight e2, a7, and now this check, knight g3 check. He of course has to go king g1, I check. And now my calculation was he is going to play king g2. And obviously if he plays king g2, I promote with check. He can't take my queen, he has to take my knight, and now I win. And in the game, he played king h2, and this is now a draw. So what I missed was that he has king h2. In the position after king e1, I missed king h2. I tried to calculate as best as I could, but I missed king h2 in the end. In my mind, it seemed forced to go to g2 for some reason, and now f1, queen. a8, queen, of course, if he takes my knight, I win, and now queen f2 check. King h3, I don't have any checks. Here I agreed to a draw. Just a painful draw. This is a painful draw. And the worst thing is that I saw 2 winning variations 5 minutes after the game. Okay, but it's best to do this in a training game. Much better than in a real game. Okay, so the first thing I want to check out with an engine is a4. Okay, b takes a4 is the best move. Bishop takes e4 is the best move. I'm guessing that b4 is just bad. Yeah, b4 is +1.5. Okay, so b4 is a mistake. Then the other point I wanted to look at is after bc3, d5 has to be correct, much better than fe4. Yeah, d5 -1, fe4, slightly better for white, horrible. Okay, then the other variation after rook b1, where I played bishop e4, I'm wondering if bishop f3 is good. Okay, it's slightly better than bishop e4. It's -3, bishop e4 is -2.7. Okay, so bishop f3, knight e3 was correct. E4 I would never think of. I would play rook g6. Whoa, sorry, my PC is freezing again because of the engine. Okay, so bishop a6, rook to d6, and if he takes the knight, it's over, c2, it's over. He can give me spite checks. Horrible. Okay, so that was correct. And then finally, okay, let's see if after a5 I can take on g3. No, knight c5 is the best move. Can I not take on g3? White wins. Okay, it's good that I didn't take then. Okay, so yeah, I didn't want to make that decision. Okay, and now, finally, king e1. Let's see it. Mate in 5. It's mate in 5. Knight e4 and f2 is mate in 5. Okay. let's look at my move. Knight d3 check. It's still mate in 11. King f1, and now knight f4 is still mate in 23. a6, and now yeah, knight e2 is a mistake. I should go knight d5 here. I'm blocking his pawn, and yeah, eventually he's going to run out of moves, and I'm just going to force him away. Yeah, this is also an easy win. I hope you guys learned something. This was a huge training session for me. Third game of the day. I won the first two. I'm not going to say easily, but quite easily. This one was painful. Yeah. Hope you liked the video. Hope you liked the game. Let me know what you think, and stay tuned for more chess. Bye.